Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio from Boise, Idaho. This is your host, Adam Graham. In a moment, we're going to get into this week's episode of Charlie Chan. But first, I do want to encourage you, if you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And I also want to tell you about our new season of The Amazing World of Radio starting tomorrow. Please check it out. We will be bringing you The Summer of Robert Louis Stevenson, Treasure Island, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Kidnapped, and so much more. We'll be covering radio adaptations of 11 Robert Louis Stevenson short stories and novels over the next 13 weeks. Check that out at amazing.greatdetectives.net and check out all of our podcasts at the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio website. Well, now it is time for chapters 19 and 20, A New Clue and the Double Murder Weapon.
The most delightfully fascinating character in the realms of mystery, Charlie Chan. In his efforts to trace the murderer of Ellen Landini and Dr. Swan, Charlie Chan, the Honolulu detective, finds himself facing a problem of no mean proportions. Motives include every guest in the house. Clues are intangible. That is, excepting one clue, the revolver used by the murderer to kill Swan. That Charlie Chan has found. It is morning at Pine View, and as Sheriff Holt comes down the stairs to the living room, he comes face to face with pretty Leslie Beaton.
Oh, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Miss Beaton. Well, we had one night of undisturbed rest.
Yes, although you and Inspector Chan were abroad earlier.
Yes, the inspector's gone off to Reno with Mr. Ward. Dad's going to meet them there.
And you were left behind as guardian of law and order.
Not so much that as... Well, after Swan's death, we, neither Chan nor myself, believe that Pine View should be left completely unguarded.
Then you don't think that our fears, Mr. Romano's, my brother's, and mine, are entirely unfounded? I mean, there is the possibility that something might happen to us.
I don't know what to say about that. The whole thing is, well, more than mysterious. So far, we haven't yet found a definite clue pointing toward anyone in particular. And the people here, Romano, Swan, Ryder, yourself, and your brother, all have motive enough as far as police are concerned, but to find motive, opportunity, and direct evidence all combined in any one person, well, there just isn't any such combination.
Hello, Sheriff. Did you see Ward before he left?
Yes, I did, Mr. Ryder.
I wondered if he remembered to take Ah Sing's glasses to the optician's to be fixed.
I believe he did say something about that. By the way, I didn't know that Ah Sing wore glasses.
He hasn't recently. Broke them about a month ago, Dudley said, and, well, you know Ah Sing. He wouldn't think of getting them fixed himself.
No, I suppose not.
By the way, if it isn't asking questions not to be answered by the law, what does Chan expect to find in Reno?
Well, that's hard to say, Mr. Ryder. A detective never passes up any opportunity of learning something. They've gone to Reno to question Landini's secretary.
Miss Meacher? Won't learn anything from her. She's as close-mouthed as a clam.
Yes, I've noticed, though, that Mr. Chan invariably does find out what he wants to know.
Well, it doesn't seem to be getting him any nearer a solution in this case.
I think Mr. Chan has found out a great deal more than you think, Mr. Ryder.
Yes? Then why doesn't he do something about it? Make an arrest.
Making an arrest, Mr. Ryder, is nothing but a technical move. Obtaining the evidence that will lead to a conviction is the real job. Plenty of detectives have known before who the murderer was in a case like this. But making an arrest without evidence to convict is, well, silly, that's all.
Oh, you think that Chan does know who the murderer is?
I didn't say that, Mr. Ryder. But Mr. Chan and I know that besides the murderer, 3 people were lying. Sooner or later, one, if not all, of these people will trip themselves up. And when they do, the net will close and close fast.
Well, I wish you luck. The net can't close any too fast for me. Well, if you want me for any more questioning, I'll be down on the lakefront. I'm going to give Dudley Bolton and let him know.
If I need you, I'll find you, Mr. Ryder.
Disagreeable, isn't he, Sheriff?
In some ways. Sarcastic. I'll bet he's a good engineer. And a pretty good fellow underneath.
Then I take it, Sheriff, that you don't think Mr. Ryder is guilty.
I'm a poor sheriff. I go on the belief that everybody's a good fellow till I find them different.
Well, I think you're a good sheriff.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Don't ask me why. I just do, that's all.
Well, I've sure learned a lot from Mr. Chan. I wouldn't have known where to start with this murder case. Doggone it, think of the situation. 4 men, Ryder, Swan, Ward, and Romano, all ex-husbands of Landini, all hating her. Then your brother, heir to her fortune. Ireland, her pilot, jealous of the dickens of your brother. Cecile, jealous of Landini because of Ireland. Ah Sing, mad at Landini about her not telling Dudley Ward about his son.
I really don't see how you make anything of it.
Oh, well, let's forget this murder mystery for a while and take a walk. There's a place up on top of the hill there. I want you to see.
Well, wait till I change my shoes, and I'll be with you right away.
Meanwhile, over in Reno, Inspector Chan and Mr. Ward get out of Ward's car and cross the street to the hotel where Sam Holt, the sheriff's father, stands waiting them.
I perceive Mr. Sam Holt waiting with all the patience those who live in perpetual darkness must of necessity possess.
Yes, I feel so sorry for old Sam.
Greetings, Mr. Holt. I hope we have not kept you waiting.
Nary a bit, Mr. Chan. We just got here a few minutes ago. Cash Shannon, Don's deputy, drove me over.
Have you inquired? Is Miss Meacher in hotel?
Yes, Cash asked at the desk.
Then we will go directly to her room. I note several gentlemen whose appearance leads me to believe they are members of Fourth Estate. I would avoid their questioning until such time as we have more plentiful information to impart to the press.
Well, it's number 29, so I guess we don't have far to go.
Somehow, Mr. Chan, now that we're here, I'm almost dreading this interview.
By the way, Mr. Chan, I did what you asked me to about the gun. I left word for them to call me here.
Splendid, Mr. Holt. Oh, I perceive this is number 29.
Come in. Oh, it's you, Mr. Ward.
Yes, Miss Meacher. And this is Mr. Holt and Mr. Chan from Honolulu.
I'm glad indeed to meet you both.
Miss Meacher, I note from papers spread on desk that you are busy. I shall be brief as possible. How long have you been secretary to Madame Landini?
Over 7 years.
Have you ever heard at any time Madame Landini say anything that might lead you to believe that she considered her life in danger?
Never. Of course, she carried a revolver, but that was because of possible robbery. I'm sure she was not afraid. She had no reason to be.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interfere with Mr. Chan's questioning, but I must know. I can't wait. I have heard it rumored that my former wife, had a son. My son. About whom she never told me. You can understand my feelings. I want you to tell me, was there any truth in this rumor?
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Madam never mentioned the matter to me.
There was no correspondence that might have led you to suppose any such condition to exist?
None, Mr. Chan.
There are 3, or rather 4 men I should like to question you regarding. John Ryder, Madam's second husband.
I know.
You never corresponded with him?
I don't imagine she thought of him anymore.
Have you the slightest idea why she separated from him?
But I can give you a notion. Madam has had scrapbooks of news clippings from all over the world. I ran across this one the day before yesterday. Let me see. Yes, this is it.
Yes. Ellen Landini snowed in. Recently divorced singer in a cabin up in the ravine. Ellen Landini, formerly the wife of Dudley Ward, California millionaire, but who was recently married to John Ryder, is snowed in for the winter at Calico Mine.
Yeah, I remember that. Snow was 25 foot deep that year. Remember John saying they burned candles all day.
It has aspects of romantic situation rather than grounds for divorce.
That's exactly what I said to Madam when I read it. Oh, I was somewhat younger then. Madam burst into laughter. Romantic, she cried. Romantic to be shut up in one room for eternity with the most colossal bore since the world began. A sullen egoist with the conversational powers of a mummy. In a week I loathed him. In another I despised him. In a month I could have killed him, and he me. I quoted Madam, you understand.
Yes, quite. Now to proceed, and in course of proceeding, we arrive at Mr. Louis Romano.
Oh, Romano? I haven't seen him in months. You don't mean to say that he's in the neighborhood.
He was guest at Mr. Ward's the night Madam was murdered. What, if you please, was her attitude toward him?
Oh, she tolerated him. A harmless idiot. Why she married him, I don't know. I don't think Madam did either. She soon sent him on his way.
Yes, after making some sort of settlement. Tell me, did she ever make that new will leaving her estate to Mr. Beaton?
She did, but it was never signed.
Then Louis Romano inherits her estate?
I'm afraid he does.
Do you think he knew?
If he didn't, it wasn't his fault. He kept writing, trying to find out. He wrote me privately. I did not tell, but he may have written her lawyers in New York. No, I'm certain, Mr. Chan, that Louis Romano knew he was her heir.
Indeed, it seems to be very much that way.
Yes? Oh, Mr. Sam Holt. 1 minute, please.
Hello? Yes. Yes? What? Yeah, it does, kinder. Yeah, thank you.
What is it, Sam?
Mr. Chan, that was the Bureau of Investigation at San Francisco.
Yes? About the bullet which killed Madame Landini?
Yes. It was not fired from Landini's gun at all. It was fired from the same gun as was used to kill Dr. Swan.
Back at Pineview, John Ryder, also an ex-husband of Landini, walks into the living room where Leslie Beaton, Sheriff Holt, and Romano are discussing the case.
Sheriff, it doesn't seem to have struck either Chan or you that some outsider may have come in and killed Landini.
You mean a passing tramp, a burglar, someone like that, Mr. Ryder?
Yes. Happened before, you know.
Suppose for a minute that happened, Mr. Ryder. How did the murderer get away?
What do you mean, get away? He could get away as easily as he got in. Everybody was watching for the landing of the plane.
Hardly, Mr. Ryder. You yourself admitted seeing Swan and Romano leave the study. The seal was on the back stairs, so the murderer couldn't have left that way without being seen.
But, Sheriff, not one single person was near the front door. The murderer could have come in and left by that door.
But to do that, Mr. Romano, the murderer would have to pass the room I was in. And I saw all the others. I would have seen the murderer, too.
But it is possible, nevertheless, that your attention might have been directed elsewhere at that moment, Miss Beaton.
Yes, that is true, Mr. Ryder. But still, To reach the front door, the murderer would have to pass Mr. Ward, Mr. Ireland, and Mr. Beaton as they came up the main stairs. No, very much afraid that my own suggestion is not, what you say in America, such a hot one.
Well, we don't seem to be of much assistance to the local gendarmes in this case. Well, let's take a walk down to the lakefront, Romano.
Walk? Can Signor Ryder be serious? Walk on such a ground as these? Wet, cold? Is it to catch the cold that you would deliberately go out?
Oh, all right. Let's go to the billiard room. Give me 25 and bet you $1 I'll win up time to the
Ah, that is different. The game, the chance, the gamble. I will, what you call it, chocolate the cue with you. But walk in this weather? No, no, senor. It is unthinkable.
This is your first real stay in the country, isn't it, Miss Beaton?
Yes, it is, Sheriff. Longer than I expected to.
Guess you find it kind of slow here, don't you?
Well, not exactly. I'm not accustomed to being involved in murder mysteries.
No, but I mean the quiet of the country itself. No shows, no excitement. It's dead after city life.
But the beauty of the scenery more than makes up for the lack of shows and whatever other disadvantages you might think of.
Yeah, it is pretty. I don't think I could live in the city. I imagine anybody from the city would find it pretty difficult to, well, get used to it.
A lot of people I know would gladly give up the city for the country if they could make a living. I have to go back to the city, and you've no idea how I dread it.
But you don't have to, you know.
I have my living to make.
But your brother.
Huey will have to make a whole lot more in the future than he has in the past before I can rely on him.
But he's heir to Landini's estate, you get that.
I don't forget it. And I wouldn't touch a penny of her money. I don't think Huey will either.
Doggone it, I'm glad to hear you say that. There's no real reason why you shouldn't, of course, but I'm glad just the same, Leslie. You don't care if I told you, Leslie?
Certainly not. I rather like it.
You don't have to call me Sheriff.
Very well.
No, that's better. Feels more friendly like. Folks in the country mostly call one another by their first name.
Is that the only reason you want to call me?
No, of course not. I like you. I have liked you from the very first moment I saw you sitting there in that living room, scared to death.
And you were so kind. It helped a lot, Sheriff. Now, that was
Sheriff, Mr. Holt.
Yes, what is it?
Telephone. Number one wants to talk to you.
I'll be right there. Come on, Leslie. We'll see who it is and what he wants.
Meanwhile, over in Reno, at Miss Meecher's hotel room, Charlie Chan, Ward, Sam Holt, and Miss Meecher look at one another amazed as Sam Holt repeats the information he has received.
There can't be no mistake about it. The deputy at San Francisco said the bullet removed from Landini's body was fired by the same gun as was used to kill Swan, but that neither one bullet nor t'other came from Landini's gun.
But that's nonsensical. Impossible.
Well, as I told Mr. Chan before, I ain't got much use for science, but somehow that kind of fits in with what I expected.
Right so, Mr. Holt. Now that first shock of imparted information is past, facts take on more reasonable placement in the scheme of things.
But the idea is fantastic. Why, we, all of us, yourself included, Mr. Cham, thought that Landini had been killed by her own gun.
Right so, Mr. Ward. It only goes to prove that detectives should be most careful about jumping to conclusions, no matter how reasonable said conclusions appear to be. More of this later. At present, we confine attention to Miss Meecher, whom we are depriving of most valuable time.
Well, I'm glad to be of assistance, Mr. Chan.
Passing from Mr. Romano, who you feel assured knew that he was still heir to Landini estate, we come to Mr. Ireland.
I'm afraid I cannot tell you much about Mr. Ireland.
But you have seen him?
Yes, met him several times.
You knew, of course, that he was Swan's chauffeur when he was, that is, when Swan was married to Landini, and that Swan accused him of making love to his wife behind his back?
It ain't very often that they make love to a fellow's wife before his eyes, Mr. Chan.
Alas, no, Mr. Holt. Plum blossom which, because it is raised behind high wall, always seems more beautiful, is stolen when master is absent and marked betrayed. This island, Miss Meacher, he was in love with Landini?
No, I believe there was some sort of love affair between them. It was before my time. Since she came here, she's enjoyed riding about in the place. But it was all over, at least on her side. I'm sure of that.
Yes, like a turbulent stream, unhampered and untamed, he swept on to new pastures. But Miss Meacher, was it all over on his, Mr. Island side?
Well, I suppose I must tell everything. I did overhear him making love to her one evening, but she only laughed at him.
So, she laughed at him.
Yes, told him to stick to his wife, Cecile. She reminded him that when first she saw him, he had just returned from the war and was in uniform. It was the uniform, Michael, I heard her say. I fell in love with every man who wore one.
He was flyer?
I do not think so. No, I believe he was in an infantry regiment.
Oh, war service? Steady hand, a clear eye, good shot. But we will consider that phase later. Now to proceed to our next gentleman, Dr. Swan. So I've gathered. Madam had no dealings with him since the divorce?
Oh, but she has.
Since you have come to Reno, he has visited Madam?
Most certainly.
He lied to us about that. But then that is not surprising. One cannot disregard the dragon's fiery breath, even though he speaks honeyed words. His visits, of course, Miss Meacher, were necessary if he were to follow his trade.
You mean his profession as a doctor?
Alas, no. I mean his nefarious trade as a blackmailer.
Who told you that?
Matter. We know it. Do we not, Mr. Holt?
Aye, Miss Meacher. We know about Dr. Swan. He'll not worry any more. Well, we might as well tell her, Mr. Chan.
Yes, Mr. Holt, it would be only fair. Miss Meacher doubtless has wondered whether or not Swan would turn his attentions to her, now that Landini is beyond his avaricious advances.
You see, Miss Meacher, Swan was murdered.
Dr. Swan? Dead?
Yes.
Well, I'll be forgiven, I hope. But I'm not sorry.
Now, we know that Madam paid Swan $250 a month as the price of his silence. For what, Miss Meacher?
I really don't know.
So sorry to be placed in an embarrassing position of contradicting a lady, but you do know.
Oh, really, Mr. Chan, if I knew.
Miss Meacher, you know that Madam Landini paid Swan that money because somehow Swan had become aware of the birth of her child. She paid it because Swan threatened that if she did not, he would impart the information to Mr. Dudley Ward, the child's father. Come, my dear Miss Meacher, this is not the time for double dealing. I want the truth.
And I want it too. I must know. Can't you see?
I'm sorry. When you first came in, I wasn't sure. I wanted time to think. I have thought. It really doesn't matter now, I suppose. You may as well know. Yes, Madam had a son, a lovely boy. Dudley, she called him. He would have been 18 next January
If what, Miss Meacher?
if he had lived. He was killed in an automobile accident 3 years ago. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Ward.
And I never saw him. I never saw him.
So, from this unexpected source comes the answer to the problem Charlie Chan had originally come to Pine View to solve. There still remains, however, the question of who killed Landini and Dr. Swan. And just how much this latest discovery will advance the solution of that mystery remains to be seen. When you have heard your sponsor's message, Inspector Chan will be with us again. Well, Inspector Chan, you have something for us this evening?
Indeed, yes, Mr. Wilkes. I am thinking of people who have irresistible desire for things not owned by them.
Yes, Mr. Chan?
Honorable Mandarin once said, if you would try man's honesty, send him first to buy vegetables in marketplace. For he who takes that which is valueless cannot be trusted with key to treasure vault. But he who is honest in little things will prove a good guardian of his master's honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chan, and good night.
Welcome back. What a heartbreaking revelation for Dudley Ward. Classic mystery novels from this era rarely have characters whose situations you emotionally empathize with. But that one just hits like a ton of bricks. That said, I'm not 100% sure that I believe it's true. So let me get this straight. Landini continued to pay blackmail to Dr. Swan to keep the existence of her son a secret after the son had died. Why? I think the reason she would have hid it in the first place is out of spite, obviously. But what's the point after the kid is dead and buried? If Dr. Swan told Ward, then Ward would get to know that he had a son who lived and had a childhood, and he never ever got to meet him. I mean, that would just be twisting the knife in deeper. The only argument that you could make is she might have thought better of trying to hurt Ward with the death of their son. But I can't imagine her spending $250 a month, $3,000 a year, which was a very large sum in 1932, on blackmail payments just to preserve Dudley Ward's feelings. It doesn't strike me as her nature, particularly when you take in a fact which I think was in the book but not mentioned so far, is the reason why Landini wasn't making her settlement payments to Romano. She was not poor, but she had a cash flow problem. Her money was tied up in real estate. So again, you have liquidity issues. Why are you spending $3,000 a year on blackmail payments? My instinct is that it's not to hide the death of her son. Either the son is alive somehow, or there's some other reason for the blackmail. At least that's my instinct. Now, I should say, in the interest of full disclosure, I've not finished reading the novel. I made a conscious decision to do that, nor have I listened to the end of this serial. So I could be totally off base. Or the author, Earl Durbiggers, might just have written a plot that was nonsensical and falls apart when you think about it. But I am only looking at the novel as in small bits as we come to pieces that are covered. Most of this occurred in Chapter 8 of the last two episodes. And once again, there is a lot of dialogue that is taken verbatim from the novel and put into the radio play. There was one detail left out and one change that I'll talk about. I'm not going to go through everything because it might be covered in a future episode. In the novel, before they left, Romano actually asked Chan to find out if the will had been changed in Hugh Beaton's favor. Now, of course, it is possible that was a blind. Nevertheless, in the novel, they were far less certain that Romano knew that he was still the heir to the estate. The other big difference is that in the novel, Don did go ahead and go to Reno. He did not stand around and just make time with Miss Beaton. He left a sheriff's deputy in charge of the estate. I do think the change is justified. In the novel, it feels like he was kind of a third wheel. At best, he's able to point out that he's the sheriff on the other side of the state border, which doesn't mean anything in Nevada. He has no official jurisdiction and is relying totally on the cooperation of local law enforcement. And his dad could probably obtain that just as easily, given that he had served as a sheriff for a long time. And while his dad couldn't be sheriff due to his loss of sight, this was not a duty that required one be sighted in order to fulfill it. So there wasn't a whole lot of reason for Don to be there. Didn't do a whole lot. And adding in a deputy adds in another extra character when you already have enough characters, and I suspect there's some doubling and tripling up going on with the cast. And they viewed it more, I guess, as an opportunity to develop the romantic subplots. So it's an interesting adaptation decision, but I think totally justifiable. So listener comments and feedback now, and we start on Instagram, where Brains Benton writes, "Thanks for the synopsis of the missing episode/book plot. Must admit that this has not been a favorite series so far, but appreciate you reintroducing Charlie Chan to me. I didn't realize how popular he was, and for so many years. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy the series more as it goes along." And then we also have a couple of comments on YouTube. Ronser writes, "Great to hear Charlie Chan back on the radio, except it's the 21st century internet." And another listener writes, "Love Charlie Chan stories, thank you." Well, thank you so much. Well, now it's time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day, and I want to go ahead and thank Kevin. Kevin's been one of our Patreon supporters since October 2024, currently supporting the podcast at the Shamus level of $4 or more per month. Thanks so much for your support. And that will do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And if you're enjoying the podcast on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and mark the notification bell. We'll be back next Tuesday with another installment of the Landini murder case, but join us back here tomorrow for Broadway's My Beat, where...
The old man said that, Miss Lilla.
Joseph?
That day he died. The next morning from that, his voice said to me, "Joseph, you see that Miss Lilla is all right."
When did my father tell you that?
The morning after he died. Your daddy still talks to me, the way he always did.
I'm glad. Things like that happen to Joseph, Mr. Clover. Once... Well...
No, tell me about it.
I once chartered a plane to take some people down to Baltimore last year's Christmas. Joseph said, "Don't go." A voice came to him while he was sleeping and said, "Tell Miss Lilla not to go." But I went. The plane crashed. I was the only one who came out of it alive. Even at that... Well, here, feel my knee, Danny.
Well,
Go ahead, you'll see. The doctor said I'd be a cripple for life.
Dr. Fulbright?
Oh, you know him?
We just met.
Don't go back to him, Danny. I think he's incompetent.
But he diagnosed your father's sickness as heart disease.
I know. Oh, I suppose I'm being malicious. Of course, Daddy had trouble with his heart. Of course, Dr. Fulbright is competent.
What about the radio in your father's room?
What did you say, Danny?
The radio. Your father wasn't supposed to have a radio in his room. He did on the day he died.
He did? Now, I don't understand either. Why are you here? Why is a policeman asking me questions about Daddy?
Call it routine.
Don't talk to him, Miss Lilla.
Joseph.
I got a feeling about it. I say don't talk to him.
Danny, I'm sorry. I've got to go now.
There's some questions.
You'd better talk to my brother. He's around someplace. Try the house. I just can't talk.
I hope you'll be with us then. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and check us out on Instagram. Instagram.com/Great Detectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.